to check the yesterday's homework. Okay. It is the third chapter. The Sanskrit sentences to be translated into English. Okay, come on, read out.
Chorayavaha. We too steal. We both steal.
We too both, anyway, both are same.
We both steal. Pidayathaha. You both give pain.
Pidayathaha, you too.
You too give pain. Kathayataha. They too tell.
Kathayataha, okay.
Ganayavaha. We too count.
Correct.
Prathayavaha. We too publish. Rachayataha. They too arrange. This one. Advaha.
Oh, ಅದು ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲವಾ? Correct. I forgot to tell you.
Second conjugation.
Yeah, okay. I'll tell now.
We too eat, I wrote.
Yeah, same thing, we too. So, adda dhatu. Ad to eat. Atti we have done. Adanti we have done. In the middle one, Attaha. The form is Ad plus Taha. Just like in the Ekavachana, Da changes to Ta. Therefore, Attaha. Middle is Attaha. Madhyama Purusha is Attaha. Then Uttama Purusha is Admaha. Admi, Admaha. Sorry, Advaha. Advaha is Admaha. Advaha. Yeah. Is Admaha is Bahuvachana. Attaha. Advaha, Admaha. So Advaha we to eat. Ad to eat.
Ghoshayathaha. You to proclaim.
Yeah. Proclaim, declare, whatever.
Sprihayavaha. We to desire.
We to desire, correct.
Chintayataha. They to contemplate.
Correct.
Prinayathaha. You to please.
Correct.
Gachataha. They to go.
Correct.
Nayavaha. We to lead.
Okay.
Or carry.
Okay.
Vishataha. They to enter.
Correct.
Namathaha. You to bow. So this
Staha is of as dhatu. Same as dhatu.
They
As,
are.
see, asti staha. In Vivachana, as I told you, from the ad dhatu, in singulars, the whole dhatu remains, but in Vivachana and Bahuvachana, A gets dropped, only Sa remains. So it becomes a staha, Santi. This Santi we have already given. Yeah. Similarly, this is Thaha and Sthaha. This is Swaha. This is because the A of the As dhatu gets dropped, only Sa remains. To the Sa we add the Purusha Pratyayas. So Sthaha, Sthaha, Swaha. Santi, Stha, Smaha. Asti, Sthaha, Santi. Already we have given in the previous tables. Okay.
Staha, they too are.
This one. They too are.
They too are. Smaravaha, we too remember. Jayathaha, you too conquer or win.
Correct.
Nashyataha, they too perish.
Correct.
Nrutyavaha, we too dance.
Correct.
Ichchataha, they too wish.
They too wish. Correct. Next, some more dhatus have come. We discuss those dhatus, and that's all. There is nothing much. Today's chapter will be over in 15 minutes. Or if I take long time, then it may be. Otherwise, within 2 minutes we'll finish. Today's lesson is very brief. Okay. First, Prathamagana dhatus, Atta. Atta is Atati. Since it is a first conjugation, we use the Gana Pratyaya is A. Gana pratyaya is a. So it becomes atati. Atati. Now since we have learnt ekavachana, dvivachana, bahuvachana all completely, let us make the complete table. Now how do you make it? Here Prathamagana, so already final is a consonant that you need not say, no gunadesha directly. So atati, atataha, atanti. Atas.
Atasi, atathaha, atatha.
Athalata.
Atami, atavaha, atamaha.
This form is familiar in our languages, Indian languages, as a paryatanam. Atanam is ಓಡಾಡುವುದು, wandering, ಓಡಾಡುವುದು. He says ramble ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಿದರು. That's a old English. It's a wandering. Wandering also is given. That ಓಡಾಡುವುದು, rambling is old English. So atati, paryatati. ಅಥವಾ any other word, paryatana. ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಪರ್ಯಟನ is only one popular. Okay, atati, atataha, atanti. Next dhatu is chal. Chalanam is well known to us. So chalati, for meaning what is the given?
To go, to move.
To go and move. Chalati means say vastra is moving here, or something, anything chalati, anything moves or anything goes. Chalati means he goes. Chalati moves also. Nischala doesn't move. Chala, which moves. Chanchala, moving more and more. Excessively moving. Chanchalati. So chalati, chalataha, chalanti. Chalasi, chalathaha, chalatha. Chalami, chalavaha, chalamaha. So chala. So ata is satatya gamane, chala company. Panini's meaning, chala company, he says it. Okay, next. Ika is jalpa. Jalpa viktayam vachi. Jalpa means he gives the meaning to prate or to prattle. Prattle andre bakwas karna or something. ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಹೇಳುವುದು ಅಥವಾ ಅತಿಯಾಗಿ ಹರಟೆ ಮಾಡುವುದಲ್ಲ, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಗಾಸಿಪಿಂಗ್, ಸಮ್ ಇರಲೆವೆಂಟ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಮಾತಾಡುವುದು. ವಾದ ಅಲ್ಲ, that's a technical meaning. General meaning we are talking. Technical meaning is different. ವಾದ ಜಲ್ಪ ವಿತಂಡಾದು. ವಾದ ಜಲ್ಪ ವಿತಂಡ is very chala, all that is more technical. It is a simple jalpa is a prattling. Prattling means irrelevant, irresponsibly, illogically, anything matadod. In dragging people talk, you say, is there any irresponsible talking? Some kind of a prattling. Child also talks something. The child talking is called prattling. That is called jalpati. Balaha jalpati. Yatkinchit jalpati. Andre abaddam va sabaddam va yatkinchit jalpati. ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು, ಅಸಂಗತಂ ವಾ ಸಂಗತಂ ವಾ ಅಸಂಗತಂ ವಾ, ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ irrelevant, something he talks is called jalpati. So jalpanam is there in Indian languages also. Jalpati directly we use. So jalpati, jalpataha, jalpanti, say.
Jalpati, jalpataha, jalpanti. Jalpasi, jalpataha, jalpatha. Jalpami, jalpavaha, jalpamaha.
So jalpanam is on, because it is only in this form, in this meaning alone it is used. So no other form. Okay, Ninda means ninde ಮಾಡುವುದು. Condemning, censuring, he says. Censuring means find fault with it. Nindam karoti. Condemning or finding fault with it. So nindati. Ninda is there in ninda. It is there nindanam, ninda. It is already there in our languages. So nindati, nindataha, nindati.
Nindasi, nindathaha, nindatha. Nindami, nindavaha, nindamaha.
So condemn or censure, find fault with, all these meanings. But he is using a technical word of censuring. Because he is an old man, old English of the 19th century. Okay.
Shamsa.
Then next is Shamsa. No, 10th. Oh, okay, we go to the 4th. Oh, Shamsa is there. Okay. Shamsa is to praise or to tell. Both meanings are there. Either praising or simply telling. Shamsati is there anyway, but in Indian languages, prashamsa is there. Pra, if you add it, prashamsa. So prashamsa is there already there. So shamsati, shamsataha, shamsanti, shamsasi,
shamsathaha,
shamsatha,
shamsami, shamsavaha, shamsamaha.
Correct. So shamsa is to either to praise or simply to narrate something. Something when you are telling something, prashamsati. And it is not in ninda sense, a little bit of positive sense, just you can say that.
Appreciate.
In appreciation, like something like appreciation, but simply narration also, sometimes you use it. In what you call, in Urdu, I think in Urdu culture, Muslim culture, they say, when they want to know you, when they want your introduction, तो आपकी प्रशंसा, I think our people used it. Nobody says one's own prashamsa. It is in Urdu language, आपकी तारीफ, they call it. आपकी तारीफ. आपकी तारीफ andre. Now I tell you, you can't ask, may I know what you are and who you are, or may I know, hagen kelala. You can't ask like that. Therefore, they have got a very sophisticated language, the Urdu. So they say आपकी तारीफ. That means your praise. Then he has to tell his own. But he himself doesn't say, मैं अपना तारीफ करता हूँ, I am doing my own prashamsa. But other person says. So that is a certain very polite way, certain words they have got it. Okay. So shamsati, shamsataha, shamsanti is over. Next is, in the sense of, as you say, praising and appreciating is also there. Fourth conjugation. Fourth conjugation, kupa. Kupa is to be angry. It is known to us. Kopa. So noun form is there in Indian languages, kopa. But so it is fourth conjugation. Therefore, we have to add kupya. Kupyati, we have to add like that. See, kupyati. There are two words in Sanskrit for this. Another is krudha. Krudha and kupa. Two dhatus are there. Both are fourth gana. If it is kupa, you add the ya, kupyati, kupyataha, kupyanti. If you take it to krudha, ka ki ra and o, dha, ya is there, gana pratyaya. Krudhyati. Krudhyati, krudhyataha, krudhyanti. Noun forms of them, krodha, kopa. So krodha is used in North India, kopa is used in South. We call generally kopa. Kopa ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ. What is ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ?
Same.
ಕೋಪ ಮಾಡುವುದು. ಕೋಪ ಆಗುತ್ತಾನೆ, ಕೋಪ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಎರಡೂ ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ಕೋಪ ಮಾಡುವುದು. ದೆನ್ ಕೋಪಿ, ಕೋಪಿಷ್ಟ, ಕೋಪಿ, ಕೋಪಿಷ್ಟ ಇತ್ಯಾದಿ, ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್. So in North India, kopa is not much used. Only highly educated people in a literary Hindi they use it. But in normal Hindi they say क्रोध. बहुत क्रोध करते हैं, क्रोधित हुआ है, महाक्रोधी है, क्रोधित हुआ है, महाक्रोधी है, क्रोध करते हैं. So krudhyati is used there. Kupyati we use it. But both are there in Sanskrit. Kupyati, krudhyati. Kopaha, krodhaha. Both. Okay. Kupyati,
kupyataha, kupyanti. Kupyasi, kupyathaha, kupyatha. Kupyami, kupyavaha, kupyamaha.
Correct. The same thing, krudhyati also. Though it is not covered, the book is not covering. But for our, we can learn that krudhyati also. Okay, next is kshubha. At the print is it clear? Ksha, it should be ksha. Here the book is very small, so letter is not clear. The book is a bigger book. Print is bigger, so it is very clear. Here it is, kshubha is not clear. Too small. See, such a big page covered in such a small size. Handy for school children so that price will be less. So he made it small. Kshubha. Kshubha is to get agitated, disturbed. This can be, so in Indian language, kshobha, sanshobha. Kshobit hota hai, kshobha. Prakshobha. So kshobha, prakshobha, vikshobha. So kshobha is used either physically getting disturbed, like in water, you throw a water gets disturbed. Water, jalam kshubhyati. Then athava, mind gets disturbed. Manakshoba, sankshoba. Mind's kshoba honduttade, sankshoba. And highly disturbed, anxiety, tension. Kshoba, sankshoba. Sankshobam. Sankshobam means that what? Economic, what you call economic problem. When they say there is a, prices have gone up, international economy is in trouble, turmoil. That is sankshoba, they call it. In Telugu, I don't know Kannada what you call it. It's an internationally, our economy is in sankshobam. Sanshobham means is in turmoil. So it's highly disturbed, like that. So Kshubha, Vikshubha, we have to say. Vikshobha, Sanshobha, all that according to context. So such forms are familiar in Indian languages. So it is a fourth gana. Adarinda Kshubhyati, Kshubhyati, Kshubhyataha, Kshubhyanti.
Kshubhyasi, Kshubhyathaha, Kshubhyatha, Kshubhyami, Kshubhyavaha, Kshubhyamaha.
It is both in physical agitation, mental agitation. In both the meanings, the same verb is used. Physical Sanshobha, Manasika Sanshobha. Okay, next is Shlish. Shlish is to embrace. Already one root we have covered. Kusyati. Kusyati. That is also fourth gana. This is also fourth gana. This is a Shlish, becomes a Slishyati. Fourth gana, this is Shlish. Shlish. Slishyati. Yeah, you added Slishyati. This form is familiar. It is embracing, he told. But with a slightly different meaning. It is familiar with us. Shli, if you make it a gunadesha here, Shlesha, noun. Shleshana, Vishlesha, Samshleshana, Vishleshana analysis, Samshleshanam joining, Vishleshanam separating. So, Vishleshana is then Kannada. Samshleshana. Shlesha. Shlesha means joining. They call it even Shlesha Alankara also. There is one Alankara. But the Shlesha has got a slightly, when you call it Alankara, I think slightly technical. There also you can say two meanings are joined. When you say two meanings are combined, therefore they call it Shlesha. One meaning you use it, it gives another meaning also. Simultaneously two meanings are used. The same word can give two meanings and two meanings are equally applicable in the context. So they call it Shlesha Alankara, Shlesha Prayoga. Shlesha Prayoga means two meanings in one. It gives two meanings. So Shlesha is two.
Ashlesha.
Ashlesha, correct. Yes, Ashlesha. Then Shlesha means joining, combining. That's why he used embracing. Embracing means alingana maadu appikolluvudu. But Shlesha can mean joining together. Shlesha. Some people, I think our Aurobindo people, they use the word Shlesha means, they use it for what you call gum which joins, therefore he calls it Shlesha. So like that, because that is a modern usage, modern meaning for the old word, the Shlesha joining. So Shlesha, Shlesha Alankara, Ashlesha, then Samshlesha, Vishleshana. Shlesha joining Vishleshana, V andre Viruddham, separate. V Shleshana. Viruddha Shleshana means Shleshanakki Viruddha. It is separating it, like that. So Vishleshana, Samshleshana, Shleshana. I think this is the prayoga we have it. So Shlishyati. Okay, say one thing. Shlishyati. Shlishyati, Slishyataha, Slisha. Oh, not what helabardu, lightly. Slishya. Because this second Sha will be light. See, Vishesha. The Sha will be little light. Sha will be little. Vatti heltivi. Second Sha will be Vishesha. Sha. It will be little light. Vishesha. Therefore, Slishyati. Slishyataha, Slishyanti.
Slishyasi.
Slishyathaha, Slishyatha. Slishyami, Slishyavaha. Slishya. In Sanskrit, you have to speak little slowly. You speak fast, all the mistakes happen. Because that's how the Sanskrit is, we have to speak little slowly. And Sanskrit gives a good pronunciation. That's why they say if you learn Veda mantras, your pronunciation becomes very clear. Vishesha, you have to say. Vishesha. Shushyati, we have used it. Shushyati, Shushka, Sha it comes. So therefore, Shishyati. If you pronounce Shasha correctly, they understand. Either you have learnt Sanskrit or you know Veda mantras. You see the people, they just use any word, any letter. If you learn these letters correctly, then they guess you either you must have learnt Sanskrit or you must have learnt some Veda mantras. Slishyati. Otherwise, other people, those who have not studied, definitely they'll make mistakes. You see them for one, the other. Alpa prana, maha prana also get disturbed. Everything goes wrong. Kathina. See, Kathinam, Tha should come Mahaprana. Otherwise, they don't pronounce Mahaprana, Alpa Prana, they just make it into one. Okay, now the sixth conjugation, a few more roots. Uncha. Cha is Mahaprana. Cha it is Uncha. Nya is nasal.
Nya.
Nasal. Chavarga nasal.
Swami, it is cha ಇಲ್ಲ ಉಚ್ಚ ತರ ಇದೆ.
This is nya, cha cha ja ja nya.
Let me see here. Cha.
Mistake. It's a mistake.
Mistake.
You have to change it. With your pen you have to correct it. See, it should come like that. Nya. See, nasal. Chavarga nasal. Cha cha ja ja nya. This is nya's half. Uncha. In all the Sanskrit letters, what you call, in all Nagari Hindi, Devanagari Lipi, many letters have got a line like this, a vertical line, cha. There is a ja and nya. Many letters have like this. Some may have, some may not have, like a ka doesn't have. So wherever this is a vertical line like this, to make their vattu means to make them a half letter. So this line you remove it. That's all.
Add the next one.
So when you remove the line, it becomes that letter. Wherever there is a line for all alphabets, you remove the line, it becomes that sanyukta akshara, joining letter. So here you see this line is removed, remaining is retained. I think ka, kha also you have got it. Ka, kha, ga, gha. For all of them letters are there. See, ka, there is no vertical line at the end. Nga also there is no vertical line. Ka, nga, cha, cha, ja, jha, nya, ta, ta. Ta, there is no vertical line. Tha, da, dha. Na is there, vertical line. Ta, tha, da, dha, na. Pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. No, pa doesn't have. Pa is also there. Pa, pha, ma. Da ಹೇಳಿದಲ್ಲ. We told da doesn't have it, correct. Da also doesn't have. This da doesn't have, but the second da has got it. Then ma has got, ya has got, ra doesn't have, la doesn't have, va, sha, sha, sa, all the three has lines. Ha doesn't have. So these letters doesn't have a line like this at the end. So leaving these letters, remaining letters, when you drop that line, it becomes a sanyukta akshara. Sanyukta akshara means only consonant to be joined with something. To be joined with something. Joinable letter, consonant. So these letters, you have to make them slightly, the same letter, write it small, and see, ka is one advantage is, this half ka is dropped. See, for rakta, only just this much alone, it's not complete, only this much they add, and ta is joined to it. Rakta, ka is half ka. Then remaining ta, there is no vattu, directly you use the same ta. Ta, da, da, nga. Da is slightly better. Da can be joined with something. Ra, of course, ra has got two forms, you must have seen. In vattus, this ra has got two ways. One is either you use it down like a chakra, or sometimes you use over, arka. If ra is pronounced first and ka comes later, then you put it up. See here in chakra, you ka pronounce first and ra comes later. Ka, ra, chakra. Here arka. In the pronunciation difference is there. Here ra comes first and ka pronounced later. Here ka is pronounced first, ra is pronounced later. Chakra, illi arka. So that ra has got two forms. One is below, another is up. Then la. La is easy. In la, only this much. This line is removed. For ha, just directly like this alone. For all vattus, whatever you have to join in this space, in the lap. For example, hra. Then va you have to say, jihva, you put va. Ba also like this alone. For ma, you join ma to this. Ma to this hook, this loop, to this loop. Ya also to join like this. Ba, ma, like this. I think these are the few. Otherwise, for this there is no join. Only just join together, because you can't do anything. Only you write them like that alone. Just to join them like that. Okay. So uncha.
Sixth conjugation.
Sixth conjugation uncha. Uncha means a certain seeds etc. has fallen on the ground. ನೀವೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ ಬೀಜ ಬಿದ್ದಿದೆ ಬಿದ್ದಿದ್ದನ್ನು when you pick up, that is uncha. Gleaning in English is used gleaning. Gleaning means what is just scattered there, you just pick them up. The picking up. Gleaning is that old complicated English, highly literary English. Simple English is pick up. What has fallen, you pick them up. Scattered seeds, you pick them up. That's I told you, he's an old 19th century man. He uses all highly sophisticated English. Because they learnt English directly from Britishers. We learned from our Indians only. Probably you learnt in English medium. I learned from my Telugu medium teachers only. All our teachers were Telugu medium teachers. So our teachers also Telugu medium. So we learnt through them only. So uncha, that is a gleaning. And this uncha word is not popular in our languages. But in some way, some people, very few people know, some vanaprastha, one who lives on this like that is called unchavrutti. Tyagaraja lived on unchavrutti. Even now on the Tyagaraja's birthday, people dress up like Tyagaraja, go for bhiksha from house to house. They'd say it is a unchavrutti. But uncha literally means that vanaprastha would do in the fields when they what you call thrash that rice, beat them that rice paddy, and they make a heap. Thereafter they carry it. When they carry, while carrying, a few things will fall, few things will remain at the end. He goes and picks them up. Or in front of the shops also, because when they carry by the bags, when the bags carry, a few seeds will fall on the ground, and he will pick up. He will pick up only that. Whole hours together he has to pick up here and there. And that happens, he will pound them and live on that. It's a tapas. Why should we live like it's a tapas? You can get direct, these days, luxury. You enjoy more and more. You give the money and buy ready-made in the market and eat. In those days, this itself is a tapas. Therefore, have you ever seen such people? I have seen some people. I have seen somewhere in Rishikesh and certain other people. He is a Brahmana, highly educated man, Samskrita Veda Pandita. You could see him is going like a beggar. Some people make fun of him, laugh at him. He doesn't even care. He goes and picks up and this thing. Then I understood. I talked to him. Then he's a vanaprastha. He picks up the fallen them and like a beggar and takes them and goes away. And he lives only on that. He lives only on that. That's a tapas. He keeps on picking up 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours here and there in shops or in these days shops, but in villages. In that fields will be there. Whatever things have fallen, he picks up and brings them. He lives on that. So that's, in those days, there were a lot of tapas. That's why people would understand and leave something. That's why I would say, my father would say that, some of them, they would leave like that. I say, why would they leave? Because some poor people are there, they will take it. Why we have to take everything like that? And leave them something. And certain birds also will eat. Because birds also have to eat. We would leave something to the birds also. Certain birds and animals and people, beggars or poor people, they will take it, leave some of them like that. So that was a consideration they would also follow. And these will also get it, and this is how live. All that culture is gone. Nowadays everything is commercial. One seed you won't drop it. Everything because you make money. Money. You become very inhuman. So this, but even now I have seen some people, even now means not now, I think long ago. Maybe 30 years ago, 40 years ago, I have seen people doing. Then I found what I studied in the Shastra, even now these vanaprasthas are living like that. They gather the seeds fallen on the ground in front of a shop. So the bags are carried, they fall on the ground. He won't enter inside the shop, and he is a very highly dignified, educated man. Shastra, Veda, everything, he knows, he's fluent in Sanskrit. What fallen, he picks up. He looks like a beggar. But still, a simple dress is wasting. Talk to him, you will know he's a great scholar. He lives like that. Okay. So India, that's why even foreigners also, when they visited, they found them. They look like in a small cloth and simple people, poor people. But when you talk to them, my God, what a culture, what a greatness, what a wisdom, what a greatness. I think it's unimaginable. You see such great people in India. Many people, even people like Alexander visited, he found such people. Great people. They live simple people. They live a very simple life. That's why some of the, what is name, that Will Durant says, The wisdom, the knowledge of the Europeans, particularly Indians, if you see, our greatest professors and scientists look like school children, he says. Their knowledge, their thinking is so small, so shallow that they look like school children compared to our great thinkers, great philosophers. How boldly they thought of the world. What is world, Panchabhuta, life and etc. They inquired everything. They discovered the truth of, they went to the truth of it. They are not afraid of thinking. They are bold in their thinkers. Europe has destroyed once Christianity came. They don't allow them to think blindly. That's why nothing is discovered. Nothing is discovered. Everything is controlled, conditioned. India alone has got that boldness. And unfortunately, Hindus don't know them. And they give up such a great culture, great philosophy, great rishis, and follow this so childish buddhi. The Europeans are children compared to Indian philosophers. You see our rishis and Shankaracharya, they come nowhere near. What Shankara says, they can't even understand a single sentence. They can't even understand one sentence of Shankaracharya. Then for Shankaracharya, that is a chatting-like thing. Vedanta is such a simple thing like a chatting. There is nothing in it. So simple like a chatting. That's why our philosophers, when they speak so highly, so much of depth, and other people just will be shocked to see that what a thinking it is. They are like children. And they say that we civilize India. The rogues alone can talk like that. This Islam, Christianity and communism, they are just nothing but rogues alone. Those fellows are not even children. They are worse, they are like animals alone. And these animals wants to civilize us. And Indians also believe, because first biggest crime Hindus committed against themselves is, you allow these English medium schools, you send your children to these schools. You should have closed them long before. At least after 47, you should have closed these schools. And even in these schools, you are sending the children. More and more, more and more. Now you see them, all 75% fellows are talking against you. Against your rishis, against your shastras. They talk like Nehrus, they talk like communists, they talk like Muslims and Christians. You talk to your children of this generation, how they talk. They just make fun of your shastras and your gurus, your Manusmriti and your this. This Ambedkar, even if he takes 100 janmas, he won't understand what Manu told. Even if 100 janmas he takes, he will not understand. He's all westernized fellow. What does he understand? Except shouting and screaming. So this is all ridiculous it is. So you make them great because these are all fools. You make them great. Because only foolishness is the qualification to become great these days. Not real depth. Therefore, they lived such a simple life. And some of the foreign visitors also, when they visited, they were shocked to see. They live such a simple life. You put a question, any question they answer about life and world and everything. They were shocked. They know everything of life. They are just sarvajñas. And we, without knowing anything, we think we are superior, and we ill-treated them, killed them, raped them, destroyed them as people. And we glorified like Nehru. That fellow is an animal, not even a human being. And we made him first Prime Minister. I told in my pravachanas, the biggest papa Hindus have committed. For 1 century, you have to live that papa for voting to Nehru. For voting to Nehru for 18 years, the whole Hindu society, including Panditas, Vidwansas, Brahmanas, everybody idiot has voted them. All the papa we are anubhavistha. People say, why are we doing? Because this is the papa. That you selected such an idiot, such an animal. A fellow doesn't know anything. He's just an animal. He can't even open his mouth and talk anything systematically. One sentence he can't talk meaningfully. One sentence he can't talk meaningfully. And you made him Prime Minister. A second-hand fellow. He should have been a peon. Peon means, what do you call an attender. He should have been made an attender. You made him Prime Minister. It is such a foolishness. They are just criminals, wild criminals. And they dictate what are the rishis, what are the shastras, and that fellow talks. And we also come, Nehru said it, Nehru. I have seen some fellows got preface written by Nehru for such a deep philosophical books. One fellow, one Swamiji, one Pranavananda Swamiji. He lived in Manasarovaram for decades. 30 years he lived in Manasarovar. He lived until 1992 years he lived as a Telugu Swamiji. In Manasarovaram he lived. He was a good Upasaka, Devi Upasaka. He had Devi Darshana. And then he established one temple near Rajamandri in that area, near Rajamandri, nearby area. One that area he established one Lalita temple. And even now it's full of vibrations. I visited 2 or 3 times. It's very good. And he lived in Manasarovar. It was very difficult. In those days, some king has given little money. He made a small boat. He discovered the depth of Manasarovar. He put some wire or something and went by small boat. 2 people can go, 2 or 3 people, went round it and discovered the depth of it. Some people say there is a Himamanava. Himamanava means Himalayan man. Iceman, he moves in the ice. Who is that man? People believed that there is a human being who lives in the ice. He searched. Years together he lived. Even winter he lived there. In winter, such a cold, impossible to live. He lived there, which nobody could live. He lived there. Of course, he made all arrangements. Tibet is there close by. So he lived there. That time, Tibet was independent. It was not part of China. So he lived there. And then he wrote a book. He wrote his experiences in Manasarovara. And there he discovered that it is not a Himamanava, it is one bear, Himalayan bear. It walks in 2 legs, and seeing that people thought it is a Himamanava, it is a bear he discovered. Like that he did discover, and he was a good Upasaka, Vallaya Bhakta. And it is he who wrote letter to Nehru, saying that China is making preparation here, it may attack any time. The letter was dumped, lot of this Gudacharya, private secrecy, spies who have given information. Nehru ignored it. Nehru ignored all that. Lot of information came. When China attacked, shocked. People say, Nehru is shocked. Is a big news. That rogue has ignored information after information, plenty of information given. He just ignored. So anyway, that we lived. And see, he knows so much, that Swami, Pranavananda Swami. In spite of it, for his book, he got preface written by Nehru. That fellow is incapable of understanding what is Upasana, what is Bhakti, what is this thing. That fellow knows only drinking and eating beef eating and drinking alone. And a woman, what else does he know? Except that. And with such a fellow, you get your preface written. It was published, first edition. It came to the attention of somebody in Bangalore, highly educated man, some kind of a Vedantin. And he told, this book is good and I am getting it printed. He got it printed, and then he came to me when I was even living in Bangalore. He brought the book and shown me. I told, why did you write his preface in the 2nd edition? You removed, that fellow is unfit. You think the book will get a good name because of this fool? This Nehru-like fool? Why did you think that fellow is incapable of you know what he says? He did not read the book at all. But you know it, then why did you retain that? Why did you retain his preface? Is a 2nd edition. You are not bound by retaining that his letter. Remove it. You get it written by somebody else who knows, who has got value for Manasarovaram and then Shraddha Bhakti and such people. Why do you get it written? Like that. If people want Nehru. So Nehru writes it. Nehru wrote it. That fellow should not be written. All his prefaces should be torn and thrown out. Nobody should read his prefaces. That fellow is an unfit fellow. He has to learn from us. He has to come and sit here and learn. And you have to read his prefaces. When you put a fool on the main seat, like high position, because of the position he gets the importance. And anything he says, people glorify. What do you say? This is a foolishness. Anyway, so uncha vritti we call. So therefore, that vanaprastha should live like that. So Tyagaraja, so he was living by begging from house to house. So therefore, now they changed it to begging also as a uncha vritti. Now they dress up like Tyagaraja, put a cloth over their head, and then like this is slightly tight, and then spread the cloth around, and then take a tanpura, and while singing, 2 or 3 people with them, and go few houses and beg, because in the name of Tyagaraja on his day, so they will do that. Even though they call it uncha vritti, in Andhra they do it. Probably here also, I don't know. Some Sangeetagnyas, you ask them, they know it. They call it uncha vritti. Vritti means living. Vritti is making living on that uncha. So they slightly adjusted it to begging also. Uncha vritti they call. Okay, so unchati, unchataha, unchanti. Oh, time is up. We are.
Unchasi, unchataha, unchatha.
Okay, Krisha. Krisha is Krishi Karya. Krisha is plowing. Karshati. No, Krisha is the 6th conjugation. Krishati, no Karshati. Krisha becomes Krishati. Krishati means a Krishaka, Krishivala. what do you call it?
Krishika.
Krishika. Oh, we got it. Krishaka in Telugu we call it. So Krish. Krishika in Kannada you call it. Krisha means to plow. Karshanam. Langala Karshanam. Because crew, noun when you make it, crew becomes kar. Karshanam means that plowing is called Karshanam. So Krishika and Krishikarya and Krishati, all that. So plowing the field. Krishati, Krishataha, Krishanti.
Krishna doesn't come.
Krishna comes, the same dhatu slightly different. Krisha becomes, there is a first conjugation.
Oh, okay.
That becomes Krishna. Krishnati means, Krishna means that akarshati. Karshati, akarshati. That drags, attracts. Karshati. Karshati iti Krishna, they call it. Okay. Krishati, Krishataha, Krishanti.
Krishasi, Krishataha,
Krishata,
Krishami, Krishavaha, Krishama.
Next is the spur. Spur is also, I think, spurati. But in Kannada, in Indian languages, spuranam means that they call it slightly different meaning. But spurati is a throbbing, vibrating, throbbing. Vibrating, throbbing is called spurati. So we call it something like a shining. Spurati means a shining, isn't it? In that sense we use it. Spurati. So anyway, to spurati, spurataha, spuranti. Spurataha.
Spuranti, spurasi, spurataha.
Oh, 3 more are there. I thought we were coming to an end. Oh, 10th ganas, puja dhatu. Puja is well known to us. Puja, pujanam, pujakaha. So puja, puja karna. Pujari in Hindi also it is there. So puja yati, dashamagana. Aya we have to add it. Puja yati.
Pujayati, pujayataha, pujayanti. Pujayasi, pujayatha, pujayathaha, pujayatha.
Correct.
Pujayami, pujayavaha, pujayamaha.
He is using worship instead of worship. He is calling it adore. Because yaja, yajati he has given already.
Worship.
Yaja. See, yaja means only puja. Worship alone. But puja can mean worship. Puja can mean simply being respectful to people. Oh.
Pujaniya.
Puja. Puja, puja, pujaniya. So it is a respectable. Simply showing a respect to a person also. Why it is falling out? Why it is falling out?
Problem with the thread.
So we will complete it, only 2 words, or later we'll do, because we are now, class is running. So puja, so pujayati is over. Next is varna. Varna also we have got varnanam. Varnan karna Hindi also. So varnayati. Varnisuvadu we. Varnayati,
varnayataha, varnayanti, varnayasi, varnayatha, varnayatha, varnayami, varnayavaha, varnayamaha.
So varna means here describing and sometimes praising also. The same description, when you are describing naturally, it implies a little bit of extolling also. Therefore he calls extolling. Extolling means only praising only. The last word, santva. Banta? Abba.
Reverse direction.
Reverse mean?
Normal turning hingala, idu hinge.
Oh, this side. That's why I was thinking. So, next is Santva. Santva andre, what do you call it? Consoling. Santvana dena, Anunaya. Santvana dena, Hindiyalli Santvana. Santva. Adu nodi. Santva aya, 10th conjugation. Santvayati.
Santvayati, santvayataha, santvayanti. Santvayasi, santvayathaha, santvayatha. Santvayami,
santvayavaha, santvayamaha. For that he gives him appeasing, he calls it. Santvana is not appeasing, it is consoling. Santvana is consoling. Appeasing means it's undue appeasing, you call it, unducing it. Santvayati means a boy is there, a boy is crying. Anunayati. Santvayati. Santvayati andre you console a boy when he is crying. I said all this thing, like encouraging and all this. Okay, anyway, the usage will come more and more later. Now we have got English words now. English around 25 sentences. You have to translate them into Sanskrit. And then now with this 3rd chapter will be over. So tomorrow we will do 4th chapter. In the 4th chapter, he mixes up all. 4 ganas we have learnt, 1, 4, 6, 10, and ekavachana, dvivachana, bahuvachana. All the dhatus of all the vachanas put together, he gives a complete practice of all of them. Isn't it? Now with this, only verbs are over. Few more verbs he covers, that we shall see few more verbs. Then only verbs. In the 5th chapter onwards, he starts with nouns. Noun and vibhakti. Noun and vibhakti. So with the 5th chapter onwards, 5th and then 6th, I think up to 9th chapter.
Up to 9th.
8th, no, 8th, 9th chapter. With 9th chapter, 5th to 9th, how many are there? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In 5 chapters. In 5 chapters, he covers all complete vibhaktis. 7 vibhaktis. So he gives 7 vibhaktis. So you will become familiar with noun and their vibhakti, and basic kriya and basic present tense you have become. Now the sentence. In fact, 5th chapter alone sentences start. He starts using noun and verbs. Now the sentences start. With the whatever little vocabulary you learnt, with this alone he helps you to form sentences. That's a beautiful. Then certain Sandhi rules also come. We will tell Sandhi rules also. He gives practice of Sandhi rules and as well as sentences. The Vibhakti also he gives how to use the Vibhakti correctly in the correct exact meaning. For Vibhakti Jnana is very difficult in Sanskrit. He has covered very beautifully. In these 5 chapters, he gives that Vibhakti usage correctly, so that you will be able to use accurately the correct Vibhakti. In what each Vibhakti in what sense? If you need a particular meaning, what Vibhakti has to be used. That way, Karaka, we call it Karaka. That Karaka he has covered very beautifully. With this just 5 chapters, he gives you good grip over the Karaka. Otherwise, people study a lot of Sanskrit. When it comes to Karaka, they make mistakes. He doesn't allow you. He covers very beautifully. Correct. He gives a good grip over that usage of the Vibhaktis. Usage in a sentence, he gives you very beautifully. So 9 chapters when you do, then you can understand the basic sentences, you will be able to understand. Okay, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat. Okay.